I was thrown into sales engineering without my knowledge. I was given a fancy title of a pre-sales consultant, and I took the job and I did not know what it was, and I had to fumble my way through. So I took everything I knew and started teaching people. In fact, folks that I've mentored now are rock star sales engineers, and I have taken a passion to enabling other people and seeing their career grow. All right, so what are we going to do today? I was picked by Rahul to say, hey, can you talk about what is sales engineering? Of course, I can talk all day, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give you a quick gist. What are the trends that are driving SE careers? And is it for me? Is a big question, right? All this is great, but is this something that will fit my personality, my goals, etc.? And so we'll talk about that as well. And I do want to give you guys some real practical tips because even if you're not a sales engineer today, you probably have some kind of an idea in your mind you want to sell internally, or you're an aspiring entrepreneur. So I do want to leave you guys with a at least one of my major learnings over 15 years on how to present and demo to customers, some tips and tricks to set yourself apart. Okay, so I do want to do that as well and make this really, really useful for you guys. And like Rahul mentioned, this session is for you guys. So please ask questions because if there are no questions, then I get nervous, right? That's one of my principles. Even presenting to customers, if there's no engagement, means something's off. So I would love to see a stream of questions float in, and we will address them. And if there's no time, we'll do more sessions. We'll do one-on-ones. Don't worry about it. Okay. Great. With that, let's get started. This was kind of prepared in short notice. So this is not a marketing presentation, but it has lots of stuff. Okay. Um, Moving closer to the money. If you look at where most technical folks sit today in an organization, they're mostly in the product org, the CTO org, IT, something like that. And we have all these titles, and we're all trying to move up the ladder. The levels, the software engineering levels, or become a product manager and own multiple products, etc. Why do we do that? We're doing that to move closer to the money. Okay, departments get budgeted, and you want to be in that control of that money flow, and thus get paid more, right? Obviously, there is another way to do that. And another way to get closer to the money is to move into the sales org, which is probably the only revenue generating org in the company, in most companies. And so it puts you in a position of power immediately, right? In sales engineering, there isn't this mentality of I'm level 5, level 6. That it's less. It's more about how much revenue I raked in for the company, and you get compensated on commissions with really good upside, right? And I know one of the big questions is how much do I get paid? Now, I don't want to give you guys a false impression, so that's a longer topic, and I would love to address it if any questions come up. So let's set that aside for now, but there is a lot of money to be made. Let's just put it that way, in commissions, okay? Way more than you guys make today. Okay, now with that, let's look at what is sales engineering. Okay, so this is a definition I found on the web. A sales engineer is a technical expert who works closely with sales teams to provide pre-sales support. Okay, so what they're trying to tell you is that a sales rep that is in charge of revenue engages with the customers, and the sales engineer assists this person and provides technical support to the customers and answers their technical questions. That is the definition. Yes, that was true in 1998. Okay, no more. So I was a sales engineer, not in 1998, but in the past couple of decades or so. And this was the state where sales engineers are seen as a side resource. Oh, I want to pull my resource in. That's how we'd be called, right? I didn't like that. I was a software engineer. I came into sales engineering role, and just the way we were seen just didn't seem like we were strategic enough. And I knew I had more in me for this. So what's ended up happening is now this is how people look at it, where the sales reps are selling business, and the sales engineer is responsible for technical selling.
I swiped him out on accident. I'm on my way to taking the mountain right now.
Okay,
Like one thing we can do is, can we make it so that people are unable to unmute on their own, and that way we can avoid the like accidental.
yeah,
mute.
sure. Can I make you host?
Yeah, make me host. I can take care of that.
Awesome. All right. Am I still sharing? I'm not sharing.
No, I don't think so. Okay, so let me make you host again so you can actually share. But I think I changed the setting so that we should avoid that issue.
Fabulous. Wow, with that excitement, let's continue. All right, so the new age of technical selling puts the sales engineer in the middle of a lot of strategic sales motions. So the SE is now responsible for the technical win. Just think about that for a second, guys. Okay. The sales engineer is there to provide architectural guidance. So you could be meeting, this is the most exciting part for me. Once you become a sales engineer, you will not go back. Just, I can tell you that. I don't know of anybody that became a sales engineer and said, nope, this is too boring. I'm going to go back to software engineering, into the engineering org. Because you might meet 5 customers a week. You might meet 3 a day. Depending on how much activity you have going, etc. And they all have different environments, different priorities, different maturity levels, and you're providing them architectural guidance based on where they are. Can the sales rep do that? No. Right? So the sales engineer is extremely crucial in winning customers. You are demoing, you're creating solutions, you're doing some integration prototyping. So you're going to use all of your coding skills, all the speed that you have developed over the years, all your skills, the breadth and the depth you have is going to be revered, and people are going to look up to you. The customers are going to say, hey, can you bring this person in again, because I've got more questions, and you become really central to the customer's success. You're putting the technical strategy in place for the account. What does that mean? When the VP of sales says, "Hey, where is this customer? Why haven't we closed this customer yet?" You're going to say, "Here's the strategy. We've put the design in place, and they're going to do X, Y, Z next. And after it's validated, they're going to buy." Like, you are in the center of it, and it's an amazing place to be. You own the technical relationships. Guess what? When I do a project with a customer, they want me back. That says a lot, right? They say, "Hey, can I speak to Karthik again? We've got the next project coming up, and I would love for Karthik to chime in along with my team." They make you a part of their team, right? Will they make the sales rep a part of their team? No, because they know their sales. A lot of sales reps actually carry donuts, and customers see right through that, right? What you bring to the table is way more valuable, and so that's how strategic this thing has become. So you own the relationship, and most importantly, I think a lot of engineers don't understand this. You have a lot of control over product strategy being in the field. So you're seeing 5 customers a week, maybe 12 a month, and you know all the questions customers ask, where you get stuck, where the product doesn't work, what are the changes in customers thinking over the months. You have a better insight than anyone else in the company. You have a better insight to assimilate that information and go back to the product team and go, okay, this is what we need to do to be ready for the next market move. Does that make sense? Let me pause there. Any questions so far, guys? Anything on the chat? Okay, so put that in the chat. So this is why I say once you become a sales engineer, you don't go back. All right, let's move on. Now, what's happened in the market too is that the B2B, business to business buying trends has drastically changed within the last 7 years. Okay, I know we take cloud for granted, public clouds and the agility and all that stuff. But you guys all look very young. You probably were born into the cloud model. But what that did was it has democratized decision making in companies. So individual business units, even developers, can spin up their instances, their Kubernetes clusters, and start coding. Right. So this whole thing about, oh, my CIO has a budget and there's a 5-year project plan and I'm going to buy infrastructure, all that's out the window. Okay. So developers have suddenly become extremely important in a company, as you guys know. And the decision making has also become bottom up. So you could go to the director of IT for something, and the director is going to bring you down to his or her solution architect to make that decision for the company, right? So it's completely changed how companies buy. Number two, there's this attitude of no salespeople, please. I don't want somebody coming in here and starting to talk about where I live and my commute and my kids, and I've got work to do. Okay, so give me information. I'll self-educate, and give me a product that I can just use and try and grow on my own, right? Which is where product-led growth comes from, right? So there's a no salespeople attitude at this point. And finally, there's a preference for customized. Every customer is the same in most cases. Like let's say you have a data analytics product or a cybersecurity product. You know, walking in what their needs are going to be, but every customer thinks that they're different, that they're unique, and they want something customized for their need, right? Because you're dealing with developers now, and you're now speaking for like a like-for-like a personality. And so you don't want to say, oh, yeah, I've already got that. You want to say something like, of course, we can configure a solution for that, right? So they feel like, okay, you're customizing the solution for us. So you need to be collaborative and have to be a trusted advisor. Now, if you look at all these trends, a salesperson is almost in an assisting role. Does that make sense? Which puts the sales engineer as a star of the entire show in the flow of revenue, contributing to sales growth in a company. Like, I can't stress this enough. And I think a lot of folks don't see it. When I speak to my friends that have been in software engineering all their life, that their goal is, I want to become a product manager. I'm like, okay, great, good. I mean, good for you. I think you should be. But then, what next? I think a career in sales engineering is a great step for anybody in the technical fields. Rahul, are there any questions that came up?
One that came up from Huyan that I think would be interesting for you to take. What's the difference between solutions architect and sales engineer?
Beautiful. Other names for sales engineers: pre-sales engineer.
Oh wait, Karthik, are you taking questions now, or do you want to wait?
No. This is one of the things I want to talk about. When you're in a sales call, which I'm handling this as, you don't say, wait, it's coming 5 slides down. Get it. So you need to meet your audience where you are. So I'm practicing what I'm going to preach. It's okay. Me finishing a presentation is irrelevant. And I want to tell this to all of you guys. A pro tip: when you're in front of a customer, in front of anybody you want to sell, finishing your presentation is of no relevance. Okay. If what you want is a question to engage, that's where the rubber meets the road. And if there's no friction, you're just spinning your wheel. Once there's a question, that's your rubber meeting the road. So you dive into that, and then you can go back and forth. Okay, great. So these are all names given to sales engineers, because when you get in front of a customer and you're introducing the team, hey, I'm the account rep, I'm so-and-so, and Karthik is the sales engineer, then you're in sales. So vendors started calling them solution architects, because what you're doing is you're setting the technical strategy, you're putting architecture in place for the customer. And you're doing that for multiple customers at any given time. You've got 15 different designs in your Lucid charts. That it's an amazing job to have. But the reason they're given different names is because companies want to present you in different ways. In fact, you might be introduced as a different person depending on what account you're going to meet today. So in an account, you might be the technical sales engineer, but then they might take you as an SME to another account because you know a lot about Kubernetes, and there you might be a solution architect. Maybe you are a subject matter expert, right? So that's the beauty of this, that you get to wear multiple hats. So you might be called any of this. Okay, great. So just one last thing about the sales engineering trends, etc. There are about 130,000 unfilled SE jobs in the US today. Okay, it's very hard to find sales engineers. Okay, so then there are all these companies that want to engage all these industries, right? Thousands upon thousands of companies that are scaling. Now think about the AI companies that are being funded right now. Think about Web3 companies that will be funded once this crypto bear market's done. Think about all those companies, once they have a product market fit, once they figured it out, until they figure it out, it's the founder that does the SE work, right? The sales engineering work. They're the ones working technically with the customers. But once they win a few customers, they'll want to scale. And when they want to scale, they're going to look for sales engineers. And so I think there's going to be a flurry of job openings around solution architecture, sales engineering, customer engineer, all this stuff around all the newer technologies, but just all the technologies out there today: cybersecurity, data analytics, business intelligence, cloud infrastructure, monitoring, whatever you have, right? All these companies are looking for sales engineers. Okay, cool. So the next big question is this for me? Okay, so I don't have any text on this slide because we just need to think through this. That there isn't anything I say. You know how a picture's worth 1,000 words? A word is also worth 1,000 pictures. So I could say something and it could mean something completely different to you. So I don't want to put any text here. So you need to think, am I a person that thrives in groups and teams where I need to be part of a team and make them successful and then go to the next team, and all these different ideas that come out and objections and being able to handle them. Do I thrive in that, or am I going to get frustrated? Okay. If you feel like you can do a lot more with many organizations and be strategic and see 15 different environments in 5 days, if you think you can thrive in that, then this is for you. Okay. The second thing I would say is about comp. The salaries of software engineers today is like the gold standard that everybody wants to go achieve. Coming into the sales engineering role, the base is going to be lower. I'm not saying much lower, but it's going to be lower. It depends on how much you're making today, but the commissions are going to be much larger than what you're making today. Okay, so when you're making a switch for the first time, joining a startup might not be a good idea, because in a startup, there's a lot of legwork to be done and you're trying to figure things out. You'll get very frustrated. So you probably want to join a more established company where there are customers that know this brand and they're coming to you and you're configuring them, etc., and kind of guiding them. If you're in that place, you get to hone your skills and you get to make money. Okay, and at least you get to check it out. Whether this is for you or not, you could do this for a year or two and figure it out. And going back, you have a lot more skills. You've seen a lot more different types of environments if you ever want to go back. But I don't see that happening. So that's what you need to ask yourself. Is it, am I willing to take a small cut in my base, but every quarter I'm going to be paid a commission that's much larger, potentially, of course, there are no promises. And the second is, do I thrive in an environment where there are groups of people I need to present to, I need to be effective in my communication, I need to handle objections effectively, things like that. Does driving business drive me? Okay. Wow, you guys are quiet. All right, I understand all technologies such as AI, blockchain, SaaS, cybersecurity. Can I be a sales? Of course. Of course. So I think Ralph's question was, can I be a sales engineer because I have a broad set of tech? So think about this. Let's say you're selling some Gen AI solution. Maybe that's your company. And you walk into a customer and the customer has an existing environment with some SaaS applications that needs to meet certain cybersecurity standards and all this stuff. You're the right person. So although your company has got a narrower product, it has to fit into a broader ecosystem of solutions and technologies. So the broader your experience, the better. Does it make sense?
And I think, Karthik, just as a reminder, people are not able to unmute. That's why you're not hearing any audio feedback. But if you want people to ask a question, you can hover over them and then ask them to unmute from the participant list.
Okay. I am okay, great. I can do that. So where's Rahul? So not Rahul, Ralph. Okay, let's go through this. Yash.
Or maybe can I suggest Nikhil has a highly voted question. If you can unmute Nikhil, he's asking about figuring out what organization to join. It's a little bit higher up in the chat. Do you see Nikhil on the participant list?
Yeah, and I say ask to unmute is what I'm saying right now.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes.
Hey, hi Karthik. So yeah, my question was, so given the long sales cycles that it takes for a lot of SaaS companies, especially in the cloud domain, and the given macroeconomic conditions, how do you decide which is an appropriate organization to perhaps join if you want to switch from software engineering to sales engineering, that too as your first switch because you do not have any sales experience. So, and I hear that there's a very quick turnaround or churn rate as well in the sales vertical, because if the company is not selling a lot of products, then you are typically out of job. So how do you make that decision as to which firm should you join at a specific when you're making that first move from software engineering into a sales engineering role?
Great. No, awesome question, Nikhil. So this is a tough environment for everybody. And when you say there's a lot of churn, it's probably the sales reps. It is not the sales engineers, because companies try to protect their sales engineers. Because a sales engineer that's even decently performing is harder to find again and train. Okay, because there is no certification for sales engineering. It's not like you can say, okay, I want these 3 technologies and you need to have these 3 certifications and you're good, right? It's a lot of, it's very nuanced. Once you join the company, you should know the product and you should know where its strengths are and weaknesses are and kind of navigate a customer conversation. These are not, this you need experience to get better. So in the first 2 months, you become good. In 3 months, you become a rock star in the company. So when there is a budget constraint, the companies don't go lay off sales engineers. The sales reps get paid lower basis and much high commissions than sales engineers. They're the ones that leave. They are the ones that get laid off first. And my experience has been companies try to protect their sales engineers. They'll give them other jobs in the product teams or whatever and try and keep them until they can ride the lull. But that's not to say we are immune from layoffs and all that. Of course, layoffs everywhere. So yeah, let me just, I hope I'm starting to answer your question. And then what type of company should I, like I said, don't go for a startup that's still figuring out product market fit. Get a, a new AI company and they do this differently. Okay, great. But you need some brand recognition before you've got enough activity so if you've got like 10 customers you work with, 2 will buy every quarter, and so you've got some kind of commissions coming in. Look, the base is of course not that low. Most people can live off of the base. Just remember that. So yeah, just pick a company with some brand recognition where the product category is known. Maybe that's the other criteria. New product categories tend to take longer to catch fire. Okay, so known product categories are better for you. Was that too long a rambling? Did that make sense, Nikhil?
It made sense to me. I don't think Nikhil can unmute because he went on mute, so now I have to ask him to unmute again. So why don't we just move on with a presentation, or if you want to take one more question, I can feed you a question, Karthik.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. And so we're 30 minutes in. Guys, we'll get to all the questions. Okay. Let's do that towards the end. But this is great. Okay. This is where I want to give you guys a tip for how to handle customer presentations and demos. All right. And you can take this to heart and use this where you are today. Or if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, you're trying to get your own product into the hands of some B2B, some other business, then you can use this as well. Okay. So you've got all kinds of meetings happening, right? Your in-person meetings, and you've got online meetings happening all the time. And the traditional way to present to a customer is like this. So first, you do a bunch of slides, and then you do a demo on your app or a browser. Okay. And typically the sales rep will do the slides, and the sales engineer, and then hands off to the sales engineer and says, hey, do you have any questions? While Karthik pulls up the demo, and the customer will ask a couple of questions if they do, and then the sales engineer goes through a package demo and then asks for questions, and they ask for next steps. Hey, was this interesting? Can we talk next week, next month? Okay, so this is how everybody does it. And if you're on your own, again, this is how we tend to do stuff. Hey, I've got a few slides to show you what we do, and then I'm going to pull up a demo, right? This is what your competition does. And it's extremely boring for the customer to have sat through 3 other such presentations trying to look for a good solution. Okay. So you need to set yourself apart in how you engage with customers. So here's what I'd recommend. Okay. I call this a dynamic situation-based flow, lack of better words, okay? So before you go in, you want to research the customer, and you are starting with introductions, and then a quick Q&A about, hey, what brought you to this meeting? And guess what? Most customers don't know why they're in the meeting. They just got invited by somebody else, and they forgot why they took the meeting. And so just asking, what are you looking to get out of this meeting, etc., makes it useful for you. Okay. And then you start with a polarizing insight. That not what your company does. You want to start with a polarizing insight. Like, for example, when I give you a few polarizing insights here, but I'm trying not to get too polarizing with you guys. For example, if I started this meeting today and said, that AI is going to do all the coding in the next 5 years. So where does that leave software engineers? Like that's a polarizing insight. Like, you're going to hate me for saying that. So it's okay to say those things. And it may not be true, but you need to get comfortable saying stuff like that. Polarizing insights are a way to get customers to sit up and listen, because if you don't do that, they're not going to sit up and listen. So one of the things I gave you this meeting or this session was, I said, once you become a sales engineer, never go back, which is true. But that's a bold statement, right? And that makes people sit up and listen. Wait, why? So people that go to sales and you don't go back, like, makes you think, right? So you start with the polarizing insight, and then you have multiple modules where your product is solving different problems. So this could be a service or a product. So I keep saying product because I come from a product background, but you could be selling a service. Okay. So problem 1, problem 2, each one has a story, each one has a demo, and it's a customized demo flow for that problem. Okay, so you need to think about your presentation in different modules. So the first Q&A that you did, that's where it gives you some guidance as to where you want to go next. So that initial discovery will guide where you want to start. So you might not do the first few slides. You might just go to the problem that they brought up when they said, oh, I'm in this meeting because I really want to know how to shorten my sales cycle, like whatever. They'll bring something up. And you go, aha, let's talk about that. And you start from what they want, right? And then you leave it up for open discussions, and they might then talk about a different problem. Then you're moving it up. So as the customer speaking, you are rearranging your slides, if you need to, or you can switch to different places because you know your order, right? So the idea is, let the audience lead the way. So when I got a question, hey, what's the difference between sales engineers and solution architects, etc., I didn't say, oh, that's a great question. Let's get to that. Hold that thought. Why? This is their time. Your presentation is irrelevant. Your knowledge is irrelevant. Their problems, their priorities are the only thing that matters. Okay. All right. So let the audience lead the way. And then the only place where you start to lead the way is in next steps. So don't ask the customer, so what do you think we should go next? What else do we need? No, because most customers don't know. So you have to tell the customer in the last 10 minutes of the meeting, hey, based on what I heard and from other successful customers that have benefited, blah, blah, blah. Next, I think we should do an architecture deep dive session so I understand your environment better. I just made that up. Okay, so whatever product you're selling, so you kind of lead the way for next steps. Let them correct you. They might say, no. I think I need to get 2 more people to look at this demo before we can do that. Great, that's your next step, right? So any questions on this, guys, so far?
Well, one question maybe from Omri is there a way to try sales engineering if you're not sure you'll like it?
Yeah. My best recommendation for that is to, in your company, ask for customer-facing roles. Like, thrust yourself into a position, or I'm assuming you're working for a B2B company. If you're working for Facebook, it's hard because there are no sales engineers and you may not have customers. Even in Facebook, you have a commercial team that sells ad spots to businesses and integrates it with their marketing systems and all that stuff. So there might be an opportunity within the company, at least part-time, to say, hey, can I shadow the sales engineer on the account? Can I listen in on sales calls? That's probably your lowest risk way. And if a company frowns upon that, too bad for them. Like, you don't want to be in that company anyways. Okay. Good question. And then, if you're married, you have 3 children, it's very hard for you to make career moves. I know that. So you kind of need to look at your situation a little bit and see if you can really make a company move to try out sales engineering. But for most people, within your company is the best way to get there. Okay. So how did you become a full stack engineer from a UI developer? Like, you just took on new projects in your existing role, right? So think about it like that. Okay. Now, every time I present, so basically, like Rahul said on the chat, I do have a certification course for sales engineering, and it's meant for technical folks who are trying to better understand how to sell better, etc. It's actually useful for life in general, but it takes my 15 years of experience and condenses it. And there's many topics. And one of the questions that come up every time I present this, people love this, by the way, this dynamic flow. It's like, wait, what? You can do this? I thought marketing gives me a presentation. No, right? Marketing gives you a presentation. You add color to it, you break it up into modules and then use it. Because you're the sales engineer, you're not the salesperson. You've got the depth to do this. So then they ask, how do I do this? How do I get to this point? Here's a quick step-by-step view of how to get to the point. So preparation, okay? Step 1, identify your solutions, the modules, the pain points, the capabilities, and break them up. Okay, so you got one product, but probably solves 5 different problems. Identify those 5 problems. For each of those problems, create a module. Say, why is it important? How does your product solve it? How is it different? A demo flow, a success story. It sounds like a lot of work, but it's not. It's a couple of bullet points on each topic. Add a few graphics, this, that, and of course, your company might already have all these details. Okay, so that's how you create these different modules. And once you walk into the meeting, you're discovering for the major pain points. Again, what's important is their pain points, their priorities, not your presentation, right? So you are trying to discover their major areas of interest, like what brought you to this meeting? Why are you spending 45 minutes with me today? Okay. And as you're speaking, in your mind or physically in your slide, Google Slides or PowerPoint, you're moving these sections around. Okay. So when you stand up to present, you've got it all arranged the right way. And the other thing is use the audience's words. So this is this really gets me every time. A customer will say something a certain way. They'll be like, "Oh, our response time for the application is really poor." And you go, why is that? Oh, because of the API calls that go and there's a delay in a critical path, whatever. And then the sales engineer will correct them. Oh, we call it inter API dependencies. No, call it application latency, because that's what the customer said. Okay. And you go and change your presentation where it says inter API dependencies. You use their words and put it in there. So as you're speaking, you're making this presentation theirs. Okay. So what I do is my presentation, I will make a copy and I will modify this copy for them, because at the end of that meeting, guess what they're going to ask you? Can you send me this presentation? And when you do that, they're going to pass it around in the org, and their words make more sense to them. Okay, their priorities are in the right order. Okay, good. That's it. I just wanted to put this out for you guys. Use it, and I would love to see what you guys think. So basically, the key takeaways are that you're customizing the slide order, verbiage, and the demos based on what the customer says. Okay, let the audience lead the conversation. Be prescriptive on next steps. Okay, so you are leading the next steps, but not the conversation. Take very detailed notes. This sets the best SEs apart from average SEs. Because when you walk into the next meeting, you should remember everything they told you, all that stuff. So take detailed notes. The customer does the talking, you're just qualifying the opportunity. That's all you're doing. You're like, okay, are they worth my time? Am I going to spend any more time with these guys or not? Right? So that's what you are thinking. Let the customer do as much talking as they can. That's it. That's what I had from a tips perspective, guys. I think we are coming up on 45 minutes. I do want to leave some time for questions. We do have a promotion going on with Taro right now. If you sign up for my full certification class, which is live, and you get to ask questions like this and interact and have real world examples and exercises, etc., then you can sign up. That's the QR code. And there's a lot of topics, conducting meetings, and not just what we talked about, building a champion, an ideal customer profile, and things like this. There's so much to know, and there's so much interesting stuff, whether you are an entrepreneur, or you're just trying to level up your customer facing skills, or you're trying to become a sales engineer, whatever your goals might be. I actually find two personas really benefiting from this class. The first is folks looking for a sales engineering career, because that's more exciting from their personality perspective. Number two are folks that have a product idea, but they're so afraid to move forward with it because they don't understand the business side of the stuff. How do I get this sold? How am I going to make money and all that? So this kind of eliminates some of that fear. So there's some method to the madness around technical sales. All right, I'm going to pause there and maybe take a couple more questions. Rahul, anything else that we missed?
This is great. I have one comment, and then while I make that comment, Karthik, do you mind actually? I think we can maybe at this point allow people to unmute so that the Q&A becomes a bit more interactive, more like state change as different people talk. But my one comment I wanted to make, if you can go back 2 slides, Karthik, if that's easy for you, like the takeaway slide.
All right. Yeah, you guys can all unmute. Which slide again, Rahul?
The one with the takeaways.
Okay.
This one, yeah, perfect. Like, one thing that struck me is that I know, like, you're the expert, clearly decades of experience in sales engineering, but those key takeaways, those bullet points, they apply exactly to software engineers as well. Like, I'm thinking back to my time at Facebook, and if someone took detailed notes and someone was very clear about next steps after a meeting, those were the star engineers, right? So I feel like, and like the other thing that I really liked about what you said is like using the verbiage of the other team, the other company, the other customer, right? having that vocabulary, I think, is so important. And I feel like this is very applicable not only to the sales engineering or solutions architect role, but also for the generic suite, the generic software engineer. So I just wanted to make that comment. I feel like a lot of really good nuggets in what you said.
Okay. And one thing I did not mention was this thing too. Thanks, Rahul. Is get to 3 levels of so what. This is extremely, I think, as a technical person myself, as soon as somebody says, hey, I have a problem, I jump into the solution because I'm so excited. Oh, look how great my product is. You have to get into 3 levels of so what. What we have application latency. Oh, okay. So what? Oh, because of that, sometimes our customers have to wait 2 seconds to get to the next page. So what? We find that most customers drop off if it takes too long, they kill the app. So what? Oh, we're losing about 20% in revenue that way. Aha, now we're talking. Okay. So a lot of times you will not hear the real problem. And so getting to the 3 levels of, and so guys, use this forget in your job. Use this in social settings. When somebody puts forth any views, political views, whatever, and get to 3 levels of so what to understand their motivations. And it makes you connect to the person much, much better. Okay, I think we had one more question here, right? And how do you adapt your approach when dealing with clients who have varying levels of technical expertise? Beautiful. That's exactly why you need a dynamic situation-based flow. This situation could be that there's one guy dominating the conversation and everybody else is kind of just looking up to him and they don't even understand half of what he just said. So you need to meet these other people where they are. You need to meet this guy where he is. So and as you bounce back and forth, and it's okay to tell the guy that's dominating conversation, it's okay to tell the person, hey, she asked another more basic question. Let's double click on that a little bit. And it's okay to do that and go to the basics. This one time, I was in a meeting where everybody is sold on cloud. And there was this one network engineer, network engineers hate cloud because it takes away all the networking. And so he had much more basic questions. I took about 5 minutes. Yeah. I took about 5 minutes to explain to this networking person some basics of VPCs or whatever, and they could not stop praising that session. Like that's all it takes, right? So when you've got multiple varying levels of technical expertise, you kind of want to answer the person's questions at a more deeper level, and you might want to jump into more basic stuff just to get everybody up to speed. And then what do you think the next step should be at the end of the meeting? Split the group. Say, hey, I think we should have 2 different things. Next step. One is maybe get these folks up to speed on some of this stuff, and then we double click on the architecture with you separately, kind of split the group, right? So this is where your ability to be socially savvy comes in. Great question. I don't think we missed. How do I adapt to an approach when dealing with clients? Okay, we did that. Can you brief us on how do sales engineers come up with strategies to sell education technology? Hey, Nimra. So great question. So it's more into a product. I don't know if I've got enough knowledge to speak to that, but I'm more than happy to answer questions offline. You guys have my contact on LinkedIn. Please ping me and we'll do that. What are the examples of established companies to consider doing sales? Okay. When I say go to established companies, I didn't mean Dell or HP, because you guys will be bored, company of that size, or even VMware. So look for product categories that are existing, like Snowflake, or I don't know what your expertise is, guys, or Cloudflare, or something like that, right? Where everybody knows that they need cybersecurity. Everybody knows they need business intelligence. So it's a known product category, and this is a known brand in that category. So depending on your expertise, like if you're a data engineer, you might want to look at Snowflake. If you're a cybersecurity person, you might want to look at, I don't know, Palo Alto Networks or something like that, right? So hope I answered that question. All right. Look, guys, but we're coming up on an hour. So obviously there's a lot of interest. Check out the class. Okay, let's do one more question. What's the most important skill set of a sales engineer? There isn't one. And that's why I'm saying it's very hard to find sales engineers, and that's why they don't let them go. You need to know the product. You have to be extremely technically savvy, of course. You have to have a knack for diving into the next level of details, which all of us engineers have. But then simplifying it for the customer, tying it to the customer's pains and priorities is probably the most important skill. So customers got business pains and technical pains, all that, and then you got a product with different capabilities. Mapping it is probably the most important skill you can get. Okay. Analytical skills, yeah, that too. All right, great. With that, I will give you guys 8 minutes back. Rahul, anything else before we drop off? We have the recording.
Yeah, I think this is great. Karthik, because you're the host of the meeting, then I'll wait for you to send me the recording, and then I can put it into Taro so people can review this. And then I'll also include links in that recording to your LinkedIn and the course, which I think will be amazing.
Yep, and make use of that $100 off, guys. Don't pay the full price. Okay, thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks.